Welcome to our quarterly update. We're doing things a little bit different this time around, just due to the nature of changes that we've had here recently. And we just want to make sure that you fully understand and you're fully equipped with what you need to be able to move forward with your endowment fund, both for the sake of promoting the fund as well as for sake of accessing the content as it relates to accounting for your fund as well. So as you can see here, we have completely redesigned our website. If you've not had a chance to explore or visit, we encourage you to do so. It just allowed us to communicate the message of what we're doing a little bit more clearly and make it a little bit more user friendly. So, as you can see here on the homepage, we've actually introduced a couple of videos between a couple of the pages that'll be in there. And then there's the immediate, intermediate, and infinite financial strategies. If you've been with us here, I'd say in the last 6 to 12 months, you've probably seen this put out there. This is both for the sake of your internal financial strategy as it relates to the immediate, helping basically just complete the annual budget, making sure we're accounting for all of our expenses. The intermediate, what's the next big thing that we'd like to accomplish? Basically, creating some aspect of either reserve fund or flexibility in relation to doing something that would be outside of the ordinary annual budget. And then there's the infinite financial strategy. That's us getting you to the point of setting up an endowment fund. But with that, we want you to walk through the process of truly creating sustainability for your ministry. So, as a partner, you've already set up an endowment fund with us. We're so excited to be able to partner and help you through this strategy. The next position that some of you've already clearly defined. There are other schools that you're still in the position of setting a goal for the fund, defining what it is, what does it need to be, and ultimately what would we like to spin off from it each and every year. So I'm going to give you something here in just a moment that'll help you set that targeted goal. And then, of course, ultimately getting your school to position where that endowment fund is producing what you want it to where just like a faucet, you can turn it on and expect the returns from that spendable balance year over year contributing back to your budget and ultimately creating that sustainability component. So, with that being said, you'll see a bunch of new information here at the top. Honestly, it's a little more simplistic what we used to have. There's a page just kind of about us for new schools to understand, donors that either want to establish a fund on behalf of Christian schools or want to give directly to your funds. The schools page, we'll cover that here in just a moment. And then the resources tab, which I'm going to spend just a minute or two here as it relates to the endowment calculator. This was created some time ago. Again, some of you might be aware of this, but this is a truly useful tool in helping you and set that targeted goal. So whatever your starting amount was for your fund at inception, what I would encourage you to do is go ahead and put in that amount. From there, figure out what you think you can set aside on an annual basis. We're just going to put in 25,000 over 20 years at the expected rate of 8%. So once you hit submit, then you'll select either fixed or variable. Fixed being the linear path of growth, variable being on the actual S&P 500 numbers coming out of the previous 20 years. And so you'll see, depending on the year that you select and when this falls, a lot of times the S&P 500 actually outperforms the fixed. But based on this particular year, you can see incrementally the fixed produce a little bit better number. And then from there, what I would encourage you to do is you can put whatever goal you kind of have, put that in the starting amount. If you're able to keep the additional amount added annually, keep that doing so. And then you can change the trajectory of when you plan to start pulling from the fund. So from this point forward, you can select, we know we're going to be pulling the 4%. We're hoping to, or maybe you're in a situation we're hoping to only pull 2%. As you know, that'll impact the net amount of what your return will be. But then you can submit and take advantage of that new information so you can create a trajectory for yourself based on this endowment fund strategy. Here at the top, again, that was in the resources. You can access all of our previous content, articles, things like that in the Knowledge Center. And then we have two areas that we're going to focus on in a couple of other videos, the partner portal is where you're going to access all of your marketing and advancement content. This is the resources that we're producing on your behalf to help you be successful in promoting your fund and developing an endowment strategy whereby hopefully on a quarterly basis you're taking advantage of that content, you're getting it out to your constituents and making it a part of your overall annual campaign. So Laura, our marketing manager, will walk you through setting up login for the partner portal and then walking you through some of the content. Rustin, who's an advancement, will help you with the donor cultivation plan. If you've not personally downloaded or looked at that, that'll be an extremely helpful piece for you to set up your annual and even year over year calendar and really help you strategize when and how and what you need to focus on throughout the year in those promotions. So we have two other videos coming in conjunction with the quarterly update that'll focus on this content. Again, marketing and advancement for this piece. Some of you just want to get in and you want to access the accounting portion. That's going to be under the schools tab. See our services. Again, this is going to be for new schools that are just looking for information on who we are, what we do, and how to establish a fund. If you are a current partnered school, again, getting this quarterly update and you're looking to access those fund statements, you'll come down to the fund holder login. As soon as you select there, if you've already set up a login for your fund, you should be able to plug in that information and take off and get all the information you need. If you've not yet set this up, or if you're having issues with your password, please let us know. We'll be happy to get you some new login for information just to make sure everything works as seamless as possible. As you can see, I have my information put in here. Password, we'll click login, and that'll bring me to the next page here. If you've been around for some time, you're probably familiar with a similar setup where it seemingly is showing two separate funds. This is just how the software program interacts. Even though most of the schools only have one fund, we actually have to account for it in two buckets. The agency portion, which is the amount that the school donates into the fund, and then, the designated portion. This is the amount that comes direct from donors to go towards your Christian school. There's no way for me to contrast, but what you'll do is you'll select, go in here, and then you'll see your current balance. As you can see, this is just a test school, but you'll see your current balance, and then you should see any recent donations towards your fund falling into this category here. And this is just an overall snapshot of your fund. In the fund summary category is basically what this is, even though it's not highlighted. Donations, that'll give you a little bit more information about the specifics, the when it took place, who it was from, type of donation. Is this a cash donation that just came in via check? Is this a situation that someone gave some stock or from some sort of non-cash asset? That'll be listed in here as well. Description of the donation, and of course the amount. 10 entries per page, so it will be limited. If you want to go back through and search and export that information, that'll be available to you. One note on the contributor piece, occasionally you might see a situation where there is an anonymous donor. The benefit of being with a foundation like Fortify is it allows donors to contribute that have a heart for your school but may want to remain anonymous. And of course, it's our fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we uphold their wishes in relation to that donation. Some of you, you've had that, you've experienced it already, and you've asked if you could more or less just give a thank you letter through Fortify Foundation that we can get back to that donor. We'd be happy to take care of that for you. But this is the donations page, and then there's the grants page. If you've been or if you have received money back from your endowment fund from that spendable balance amount, this is where you'll find that information, the overall summary, grant history. If there's any recurring grants year over year that are set up, that's where all those details will be. You see it here, the tab grant request will be there as well. But if you're looking to pull from the spendable balance for the first time, this is how you'll go about doing that, just by submitting a grant request or create grant request here. Again, if it's your first time, what you'll do is you'll select manual grantee. We'll go ahead and do that. And this page might be a little confusing if it's your first time around. Grantee information, if this is just a general fund that's going back to some aspect of helping with school needs, then you're just going to put in your school information here. If it's a situation where this is a scholarship fund and it's going directly to a student, I know this may be few and far between, but we do have a couple that are set up this way. What you'll do is you'll put in that student's information here. We will reach out to you directly just to make sure that the original intent for the fund is still being upheld before we actually grant that check out. But this is how you'll access the grant request information. I'm going to click this again just to give us a start over here. Once you've done the manual portion, you should be able to go in and see previous information that you might have put in. So if this is just a fund that's contributing back to the school, you'll be able to pull that up quick without having to fill it out each time, just with this previous option. If you have multiple grantees and you have several that are saved, go to that search box. Again, that'll do the information to where you don't have to fill it out each and every time that you come in and do a grant request. Finally, with our options here on the left is the resources and documents page. This is where you're going to access your fund statements. Remember, just out of transparency, we're producing monthly fund statements. It's for the sake of transparency that we keep them monthly, but also recognize this is a long-term fund. Quarterly snapshots are typically what we use for the numbers, both in your fees as well as your spendable balance. So if your spendable balance is a situation where you take your sum total based on the fund summary and you calculate out, let's say 4%, and it seems like that spendable balance number is off. Remember that spendable balance is based on the average daily balance based on the previous 12 trailing quarters. And what that does is once your fund gets to that historical reference point, then all of a sudden your fund will be in a position where if you're expecting to pull, let's say 50,000 from the fund each and every year, that'll give you a good consistent number because of the time frame that it's accumulating data from, rather than if the stock market, economy, whatever the case may be, just crashes hard and you're really expecting and needing that 50,000, we can get you a good consistent number there rather than experiencing those ebbs and flows of the market. So on top of that, again, I mentioned the fees. The fees are based on the average daily balance at the end of each calendar quarter. So it's the quarterly increments that provide a little bit better and truer snapshot. But for the sake of full transparency, we want you to have access to that monthly data. If per chance you're not seeing monthly fund statements when you access, what I encourage you to do is go ahead and select the other option. Again, one will be agency, one will be designated. It'll be your agency portion for the typical school. It'll be the agency portion where you'll access a combined fund statement that'll give you the cumulative total for both the amount that the schools contributed as well as what donors have contributed as well. So that's how you'll access all that information. Before you, of course, you can go in when there is those statements, you can download, export, take the data however you want and use it as you wish. For the average Christian school, I would say there's typically just one, maybe two individuals that have access to this portal. If there is an individual in your school that you would like to have access to this information, or perhaps even a board member, let me know. We'd be happy to set up a login for them so they can access the content as easily as you can. If you go to your profile, it'll have your information in there as was submitted, and then you can log out via that method as well. Hopefully, this gives you a good overall encompassing view just through some of the changes that have taken place, both on the front end with the website, as well as the back end through the software update. Again, their idea is to make this a little bit more user friendly, and hopefully that'll be the case as you continue to use it moving forward. But I know for a lot of you, you've gotten used to the previous way. And so we just wanted to make sure we gave you a good visual to make it as easy and as seamless as possible. So with that being said, we thank you so much for the time, the opportunity to serve you. And if there's anything we can do to help, definitely don't hesitate to reach out.